Welcome back! My name is ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time! We are still in 1986. Today, we're going to talk about The Bard's Tale 2. The story of The Bard's Tale 2, The Destiny Knight, takes us back to Interplay Productions. We talked about Interplay Productions in our video on The Bard's Tale. For The Bard's Tale 2, Interplay Productions turned once again to Michael Cranford. Michael Cranford was also responsible for the original Bard's Tale. J.R.R. from Electronic Arts would serve as producer of the game. The game would feature art from Todd J. Camasta and music from David Warhol. The process of creating The Bard's Tale 2 started as soon as the original game was completed. On top of the inspirations from the original game, The Bard's Tale 2 would draw inspiration from J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. The Bard's Tale 2 is a role-playing game. It plays similarly to the original game, with players creating a party of adventurers, then setting out on their quest. There are additions to the game, including a new magic user named the Archmage, and new features such as casinos and banks. In The Bard's Tale 2, the party plays in the Realm. They are tasked with searching for 7 pieces of the Destiny Wand, defeating the Archmage Lagoth Zanta, and reforging the wand. Electronic Arts released The Bard's Tale 2 to the Commodore 64 in December 1986. That is a brief backstory to The Bard's Tale 2. With that told, it's time to look at the game's manual. The manual reads, "Greetings, hero. My name is Saradon, a wizard of some fame and little fortune. Though you know me not, and we have never met, I feel that I have known you all my life. For the story of your deeds, your entanglement with Mangar and his evil horde in Scarabray, flows from the lips of every bard throughout the realm. For this reason, for your courage and experience, I have contacted you above all others. For now we face an evil much greater than Mangar's, an evil that threatens not the safety and tranquility of but one city, nay, an evil that threatens the existence of the entire realm and all the cities and citizens within. Recall now the lessons of your childhood, the story of Turin, the Archmage who forged the Destiny Wand in the molten depths of the holy mountain Krontor, the Destiny Wand, the uniting force which has rallied armies to the aid of the realm, and had maintained peace and prosperity for the last 700 years. But look around you now. Where has the power of the Destiny Wand gone? Lawless mercenaries from the neighboring kingdom of Lestrade have invaded the realm and now run rampant through the streets, even in Tangramain, our capital. It is they who have taken the Destiny Wand, with the guidance of an evil archmage known as Lagoth Zanta. Although Lagoth had thwarted each of my attempts to gain knowledge of his powers and location, I have been able to discover that the Destiny Wand lies broken in 7 pieces, at 7 different locations. Lagoth has placed each fragment of the scepter within a snare of death, a puzzle room that will require all the wisdom and cunning at your disposal in order for you to survive. Do you believe in legends? Legend states that unimaginable power is bestowed upon the one who reforges the Destiny Wand. Regardless of whether or not you hold faith in the stuff of legend, you must defeat Lagoth Zanta, regain the 7 fragments, and reforge the Destiny Wand. It is the only way to save the realm. Now I must hurry, for in my attempts to glean knowledge of Lagoth, he has discovered my prying magic, and even now his mercenaries approach. I care not for my own safety, but I pray that my magic is still strong enough to deliver this letter and the accompanying booklet into your hands. The booklet contains powerful quest knowledge which I have gathered using magic and other, more physical methods. Use it to help you during your quest. My only regret is that I cannot personally be there to counsel you during your quest. May fate smile upon you, and upon me. Saradon." The manual is then filled with information about the game, the characters, and tips. At the very end, it concludes with a poem that reads, Beyond the bard's tale, as was told, an epic great will now unfold, and in the quest before thy sight, a mortal man becomes the knight. Of wounds this many can never die, his lips will never voice the cry, which doomed another ages gone, who now is trapped as evil's pawn. Of puissant might and matchless brawn, the knight's fierce fate is plainly drawn upon the tome of life, in fact, and in this power lies the pact. So seek the wand and face the snare, yet in no way can you prepare for Zanta's wrath and endless guile. Now try the quest, friend, for a while. That is the backstory to the game as presented in the game's manual. With that read, it's time to play the game for ourselves. And here we are in the game. This is The Bard's Tale 2, The Destiny Knight. As you can see, by Michael Cranford, copyright 1986 by Interplay Productions, whose logo is in the bottom right. We have Electronic Arts logo, the publisher, in the bottom left corner. And then we get a scene to start. It looks like somebody is stealing? Hard to say. A piece of the Destiny Wand as the music swells. We can unite the pieces and become stronger. That is my interpretation of what is happening. And then it just kind of starts over. So let's get into the game. We are not going to be playing too much today, as anybody that has been watching my RPG playthroughs probably is aware. There's going to be a lot of customization to start. I've tried to deal with a lot of that, but then once we get into the game, there's going to be some level grinding. So I'm going to try to explain everything as we go through. A lot of the rules are the same from The Bard's Tale 1. I already have 4 guides in front of me just to try to explain what is about to happen. We are playing the original Commodore 64 version, so I don't believe I'll be able to bring forward my characters from the previous game, but that is okay. We'll go ahead and attach that there, then press a key, which is the space bar. It seems to need the space bar. So here we have some utilities. You can just start the game, which is what we're going to be doing. You can copy characters, try to put them onto a new disc. You can update your original Bard's Tale characters. That is an option, but I'm not going to be going for that. We're just going to create some new characters. It feels like the game wants me to make new characters for this one. We can make a disc where we basically just kind of format something to make it ready for this game, and then we can transfer characters, which I believe works the same as the original game, which means you can bring characters forward from Wizardry if you have those. But like I said, we're just going to start here. The menu does take a little bit to load in this version of the game, but we should be all right overall. It shouldn't take too long. If it does become an issue, I'll try to figure out a way to just kind of make things go a lot faster. But thou art in the Guild of Adventurers, just like the first game. We can check the roster. I believe, yeah, these are my created characters. So I went ahead and created characters already. You might notice that I have 7 of them. We will be using all 7, as you can see, 0 through 6. We're going to be using all 7 of them. So I'll go through them, but first we will show what is possible in the disc options. That's kind of where you would normally start this. You would start in D, disc options, and here you can create a member, you can save the party, you can delete a member, rename a member, leave the game, which is literally leave the entire game, and then exit the disc operations, which will take you back to the previous menu. All right, so we'll start by pretending we're going to create a character, which we're not really going to be doing. And just like the first game, we can select a race for our character. You can choose a human, an elf, a dwarf, a hobbit, half-elf, half-orc, and gnome. I believe all of them were in the previous game, but in case you have forgotten, your race will determine what stats the roll of the dice will max out at. And I do believe that there are some limitations when it comes to classes. Classes are much more important than races. So if you want to, for instance, be a hunter, the only one that I found that worked was a human. So I have a hunter. It's a human. I tried to make it a... I think I tried to make a hobbit hunter, and it just wouldn't let me do it. But we can try, once again, to kind of go through this. Oh, for the record, at least for the version of the game that I am playing, that little backspace-looking button to abort, that's mapped on most keyboards to be that tilde to the left of the 1, the numeral 1. So just in case you want to do that, which you will need to do. So let's start with 1, and then it kind of gives us character X, and it gives us all the stats that are available for the character. The stats are going to be the same as they were in the original Bard's Tale. We'll kind of go through them quickly. First, we have strength. That affects how much damage you do. Not as much as weapons, but, you know, it will help. IQ is going to be possibly the most important. If you have a magic casting character, that is going to be the most important. It will deal. I believe it changes how much damage or healing power your magic spells do. But more importantly, it will allow you to get more spell point gains during level ups. So you're going to want a high IQ for those characters. The next one is DX, which is dexterity. That will, I believe, impact how often you hit. And then there's also characters, I believe, that will get damage based on dexterity, but that I could be mistaken about that in this game. I'm not finding a lot of information, so I'm going to say, but I'm wrong about that one. But dexterity will impact how often you hit. Then you have Constitution, which will determine how much damage you receive when you're hit. The higher Constitution, the less damage. It'll also impact how much HP you gain on each level. Luck is just kind of things go your way. There's not a lot of information that I can find on specifically what luck does, but that is the case there. So, you know, it makes things go your way more often. So, it's nice to have a good luck, but it's not vital. Then we have HP, which will determine your health points. Notice that they don't give you SP for spell points. So let's say what you would normally want to do, especially early on, is these stats are not very good. So we would abort and then try again. And abort and try again, abort and try again, and just do this rinse and repeat over and over. That's pretty good. We have a dexterity of 15, a constitution of 13, strength of 11's not great. IQ and luck aren't particularly good either. HP is on the higher side. The human will max out dexterity at 15, so that's as good as you're going to get there. Constitution is 15, so it could be a little bit better. This particular character, I would want to be something like a bard or a rogue. I probably wouldn't want it to be a warrior. You know, once you get the stats thing, you can try to figure out what you would want to do with it. A monk's not bad for this one. Hunter's okay as well. Let's pretend I was going to make a hunter. Hunter. Why not? Maybe rogue. We'll go rogue because I didn't make a rogue. So we'll make a rogue and then you enter a name. Human rogue, we'll go with Isildur, because I'm sticking with the Lord of the Rings theme. Like I said, this one's supposed to be kind of more inspired by Lord of the Rings. All right, so that's creating a character. It's not one that I would particularly stick in my party. It wasn't necessarily good enough, but, you know, it could have been a weaker member of my party. So then we will exit disk operations, and then we can start adding members, but they just kind of give you this here. Just enter a name, and you have to remember what all your characters are. But luckily, I think I remember all of them. I actually created them on a different day, so for me personally, so hopefully I remember. We'll start with the Paladin. I made a Dwarf Paladin, and I believe I named him Durin, because it's a solid dwarf name. There's lots of Durins in Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion. All right, so Durin goes into the number 1 slot. Then we can add another member. The next one will be the warrior. I made a half-orc warrior named Gothmog. Very good, evil Lord of the Rings Silmarillion name. I believe originally a dragon and then an orc later. It's been a while, but I believe that is how that works. All right, and then next up, I want to add my monk. I made a half-elf monk, named her Arwen. I feel like I should bring female characters in, but there's not a lot of them in Lord of the Rings. So it takes a little bit harder. So yeah, Arwen, not a monk in the books or in any of the media surrounding it, but it worked for what I needed. Then we need to bring in our hunter. I made Aragorn a hunter. It kind of makes sense. In the books, he's called a ranger, so hunters, that's close. Then I have a bard. I wanted to make a hobbit bard, so I went with Mary. For whatever reason, typing the double R does not always work. But we have Mary. Mary is probably my weakest character of the bunch. Look at those hit points. Not very good. But Mary is quite small, so that kind of makes sense. Hopefully Mary just never gets hit. And, we'll figure out what we need to do with Mary eventually. Hopefully we get some good stat increases as we level Mary up. But yeah, Mary's probably my weakest character right now. Which makes sense, being a hobbit and all. Next up we can do an elf. I made 2 elf magicians. That was kind of what I was recommended to do. You could do a conjurer and a magician, and that way it spreads out a little bit more. But early on, if you might remember in the first game, we ended up switching the magic caster classes a lot. We're going to be doing something similar this time. And conjurers don't get a heal spell to start, and magicians do. So I made 2 magicians. We'll start with Círdan. He's in charge of the port heading west, if you saw the end of anything with the Lord of the Rings. Mentioned a couple times. And then the last one is Finrod, straight from the Silmarillion, I don't think mentioned at all in Lord of the Rings. But it's been a while since I've read through it. I should read it again, see all the mentions. All right, so that is kind of the party. Now we can view what we have. Notice that there's a couple spell points going for Círdan and Finrod. We have 17 for each of them. And no, the game does not tell you what the spells are. You just have to kind of figure it out. So let's view the members, kind of go through them in detail a little bit. Durin here is our dwarf paladin. Got a really good constitution, good dexterity. That's maxed out for dwarves, I believe. Yes, max dexterity for dwarves, so hit often, please. And a good bit of strength. We can try to level that up as we go. That's pretty much all that matters there. Nice little portrait. Doesn't necessarily look like a dwarf to me, but maybe that's just me. All right. Then we can check out Gothmog, our half-orc warrior. That looks quite familiar. I would not say that looks like Gothmog to me. Higher constitution, higher strength, and really good dexterity. Honestly, I'm a little upset that I kind of got Gothmog to be to get these stats, because these are some of the best stats that I have in my party, and Gothmog's probably going to be a temporary character. I'm probably going to get up to level 3 and then get rid of Gothmog and replace Gothmog with somebody else that might be a little bit stronger. Warriors are good at the beginning of the game, not so good at the end of the game. But, the stats are really good there. So maybe I'll keep Gothmog longer. Next up we have Arwen. Arwen. That does not look like Arwen to me at all. Our half-elf monk. Strength of 11, IQ of 13, that doesn't really matter as much. Dexterity and constitution are kind of where it's a little bit more important. Hopefully Arwen just kind of dodges more often than anything else. But the dexterity will definitely help. So there's Arwen for you. And we can go over all these things later. But for now, they're not super important. All the things on the second screen. Next up, we have Aragorn. Looking just like Durin and Gothmog. Aragorn, our human hunter. Dexterity of 15, constitution of 15, strength of 14. Those are the numbers that I really cared about. So that's what our good. And once again, a whole bunch of zeros there. Next up, we have Mary, our Hobbit Bard. Looks just like the person in the guild. Dexterity of 18, Constitution of 12. Those were kind of the most important. Luck's on the good side as well. Kind of want a lucky Hobbit, don't you? But once again, like HP, that's particularly low. So hopefully we can deal with that as we continue. But if Mary ends up kind of dying a lot, I won't be super surprised. But, if it becomes too bad, we can find Pippin somewhere. Then we have Círdan, our elf magician, looking worse for wear these days. IQ of 16, that's the highest that I can do to start. I believe across all races. No, I could have done higher with a gnome. Maybe I should have done a gnome. I think you can do an IQ of 17, but the recommendation that I got was elf, and the mages end up kind of being the most important people towards the end of the game, so I didn't want to mess them up too much. Strength of 15, that doesn't really matter. Really, the only number that mattered for me was IQ. Constitution is low at 6. Dexterity is pretty high. Hopefully that will help. And now we finally get something on this screen. You might notice where it says Magician, there's 1 there. That means I have level 1 spells. The other ones, I believe, are Sorcerer, Conjurer, Wizard, and Archmage. We don't have any level spells there. So then I pull up my other notes. Level 1 magician spells, there's Vorpal Plating, VOPL. It costs 3 spell points, and it emits a magical field on one of your party members that will inflict 2 to 8 points of additional damage. So if you want to do more damage, that is the way to go. And then the second level 1 spell is Quick Fix, QUFI. That's 3 spell points, and it'll hit a character for exactly 8 hit points up to their maximum hit point level. So that's the healing spell, and that's the reason that we went for it. And then the other one is Scry Sight. It says causes a dungeon or wilderness pathway to reveal the party's location. So it'll tell you where you are. SCSI costs 2 spell points. I could go over the Conjurer stuff, but I'll just kind of go over it briefly. There's a light spell called Mage Flame. There's a damage spell called Arc Fire. And then there is a trap disarm spell called Trap Zap. But for me right now, healing is more important. So that's what we went with. All right, and last person is Finrod. I don't think we've had a Finrod before. 15 strength, 16 IQ, 14 dexterity. Like, Finrod's probably the better one. I probably should switch them because number 5 gets hit a little bit more than number 6, but I don't think it really matters. So we will just kind of move on. Once again, level 1 mage spells. All right, so we have our party. I could save my party, but ultimately it's fine the way that it is. Let's go ahead and exit the guild. Because we've already added the members, we don't need to remove any members, we don't need to change the order, so that's pretty much all the options there. Let me pull up my other map, or my other tab. We got a map going, and we have made it to Tangramain. That's where we start here. Now, Tangramain is basically a square. We are very close to the exit. If you go straight from here, it'll take you to what's known as the wilderness, which is basically the world map. There are multiple towns in this game, so we will have to deal with that eventually, but for now, we need equipment. So let's turn left here so that we face south. We'll go forward 2, turn left again so that we face east, and here is the shop. Can I just hit I and go in? I'm going to say that was a beep that says no. I have to kick it open and then go in. There we go. All right, we made it to Garth's equipment shop, oh wealthy travelers, and we made it back to Garth. Garth was in the first game when we were in Scarabray. Apparently he moved out here to Tangramain, so hooray. Let me pull up my other notes for all the things that I need to buy to start. I don't believe I'm going to have quite enough money. I might be short the last item, but that's okay. We'll get it eventually. Okay, so let's start with Durin. He's going to be the most important. We'll pool all his gold. What do you mean? What do you mean I have no gold? Wait, excuse me? Excuse me? Why don't I have gold? Now that I think about it, did nobody have gold? What happened to all my gold? Normally you start the game and everybody has about 200 gold. Right now nobody has any gold. So I tested a little bit earlier, and clearly testing has screwed up the game somehow. That is not what I anticipated happening here. All right, so this is kind of an easier fix than normal, but not as good as I would like. So can I just go in there? Nope, got to kick it open. So this is the guild, and now I get to go over a cheat that is present in the game, and that is that I can remove all of these characters except for Durin here. Well, Durin will be my money master. And I didn't anticipate showing this off kind of as is, but this is going to be what happens. So now I can add Isildur, and then we can look at Isildur, and Isildur should have some money on him. There we go, 226. So what I then do is I create other characters. We'll go to disk options, create characters, human does not matter, and your A. Create human warrior, you can be B. Create human character, warrior does not, none of the stats matter. I'm not really using these characters. All right, that's ABC. I need 2 more. Human warrior D. Create human warrior E. Okay. Then we exit the disk operations, add member A, add B, add C, add D, add E. Okay, then we exit, and then we pull up Durin by pressing 0, pool all the money together, pool, and next time I check him, he should have everybody's money. 924. Not as much as I was hoping for. I think last time when I started, I had about 1,200, and that's probably going to be what I need. All right, click and go in, and then we remove all the party members. Remove 1, remove 1, remove 1, remove 1, remove 1, remove 1, and then we do the disk options, delete member. We'll delete Isildur. He has done everything he needed to do, and then we'll start deleting all the other characters. Delete B, delete C, delete D, delete E. All right, so I'm going to do that one more time, load up Durin with more money, and then I should have enough to purchase everything that I at least want to get in my party so that I can start, and then we'll probably do one battle. I'll see you on the other side. All right, that is done. I now have, I believe, over 2,000, just over 2,000 gold. So we'll head south here, turn back east, go back into the shop, and now we can purchase everything that we want. All right, yeah, just over 2,000 gold, 2,002. So it's random. I don't know what to tell you. Got a lot more the second time than I did the first. Let's go ahead and buy an item, and let me look at my list. All right, for our paladin here, for Durin, I'm going to want purchase the broadsword. Then we'll hit F for forward and slowly scroll this up. I want to purchase the tower shield, number 8 there. And the chainmail, moved it up to number 8. Again, I want the helm, purchase 8. And then the gauntlets, right there, number 9. And I think that is it. So let's go back, or hit the back button. Then we can exit, and then we can do number 1, pool all the gold there, buy, and that's kind of how you buy things. We want the broadsword for Gothmog here, our warrior. Then we want pretty much all the rest of the same stuff, a lot of the same stuff. The tower shield, no chainmail, the helm though. Buy the helm and the gauntlets, and I think that is it. Tower shield, helm, gauntlet, and I think I got the broadswords. I think I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. So we can exit. Number 2, Arwen here needs all the money. Let's go ahead and buy. This time we're going to do stuff quite differently. No weapon for a monk. Arwen is our monk, if you remember. But we will purchase the buckler, which we can do. We'll also purchase... you might notice those little kind of theta symbols, those 0 symbols, like on the tower shield there. That means that this person cannot equip that item. We do want the helm and the leather gloves. Okay, that should be it for you. Then we'll switch to 3, which is Aragorn, pool the gold, and then we will get the broadsword, which doesn't seem right for a hunter, but that is what I am told here. For our hunter, we want that. And then the tower shield. The gauntlets and helm as well. There's the helm. And there's the gauntlets. Okay, that should be everything for you there. Then we will exit and have Mary go in. Mary is the last person that we want to purchase anything for, so I have plenty of money. We only want to get the mandolin for Mary. I don't think we made it all the way down the list to see the mandolin there. There it is. All right. Purchase number 8. There's the mandolin. Eventually, I think the halberd is what I want to get for everybody. Armor is more important to start, so we'll go with that. But eventually, oh, that's the bottom of the list there. But eventually, the halberd is what I'm going to get. So hopefully we can get some of the kind of best stuff in the game. But for now, that is good. Mary can just kind of hold on to the money. We can exit the shop, and before we do anything else, because we have all this new fancy stuff, we need to hit E for equip here. So you can see the selection is like E, that's for equip. T, I believe, is trade. D is drop. P is pool the money. So let's go ahead and equip number 1. Now we have more attack. Now as I equip the rest, watch the AC on Durin in the bottom section. We're at 10. We equip the tower shield. Now it's 8. The chainmail. Now it's 5. Helm puts it down to 4. Gauntlets put it down to 3. The lower the AC, the better. That's what you want. So Durin is now harder to do damage to. I don't want to say hit, because that doesn't feel right. Because, you know, putting on all this armor probably makes him a little bit easier to hit, but it's harder to damage. And we can do the same thing here with Gothmog. Of course, it's not going to be quite the same. Let me make sure I got everything. That is everything. So now Gothmog has an AC of 6. Not quite as good, but pretty good. Okay, then we can equip buckler, helm, and leather gloves, also down to 6. And then Aragorn can equip all of that. Also down to 6. All right. And then Mary is our last one. And you can equip the mandolin. And with this, I should have access to bard songs. Let's kind of quickly go over bard songs, even though I never use all of them. But hey, it might work. Number 1 is the Archer's Tune that doubles the party's missile damage and cuts the missile damage inflicted on the party in half. That includes thrown weapons, arrows, spears, and axes. Then there's number 2, which is Spell Song. That's a bonus to the saving roll, so you're less likely to be damaged by magic and traps. Number 3 is the one that I'm probably going to be doing all the time, which is Sanctuary Score. It lowers the armor class for all party members. Then there's number 4, which is the Melee March. Increases a party's hit points for extra protection. And then it also increases how much damage you do on them. Maybe I'll go for that. Now, early on, I just want to not be hit, but eventually maybe I'll switch over to the Melee March and start doing more damage and receiving less damage. Number 5 is Zanduvar Carrick. Let's go with that. It will protect you from traps and heal you during combat. Then we have number 6, the Rhyme of Duo Time. It regenerates spell points at twice the normal speed, and then it gives you extra attacks during combat. So the Bard's definitely been buffed compared to the previous game. The Bard is definitely stronger, because I don't remember a lot of these being super useful. And then number 7 is the Watchwood Melody. That's a light spell. Apparently it can work sometimes in anti-magic zones. It just says may work, so we will see. All right, so that is our party. We can start with Bard. Let me actually get in there. All right, Bard. Who will play? Mary will play. He's our Bard. And then he will play number 3. And then we can just listen to that for eternity from now on. Yeah, I'll figure out how to turn that off eventually. I think that, well, we'll let it play for a little bit as I kind of just explore. Just going to go up and down here. That is a tavern, I believe. We'll need to get in there when I want to replay the song. And we'll see if I can get into a fight. That's basically what I wanted to do at this point. Get into a fight, see how it goes with all of these party members. Mary can really kick a tune going, doesn't he? And then, of course, we'll have to get a beer in him before I can try again. I assume it's a pint. All right, maybe I have to kick down some of these doors, go in. Nope, nothing there. Let's try that door. The music stops while I kick open. That one? Nope. Like, you have a better chance of getting in there than just a random... maybe? Oh, we got something different. It's loading something else. I didn't think this was the tavern. There we go. Oh, it's not. All right, we face 3 archers at 20 feet away. 3 archers is too much for my party to handle, so we're going to run. Didn't work. All right, so we're going to try our best here. We might already be screwed. That's how unforgiving this game can be. We will attack with Durin, attack with Gothmog, attack with Arwen, attack with Aragorn. Mary can defend, and then we're going to see what I can do with these party members. They are magicians, right? Let me pull that up again. Vorpal Plating, Quick Fix, and Scry Sight. All right, so we're gonna cast a spell. We're gonna do Vorpal Plating. And we're going to do it at Durin. And you are going to do it at Gothmog. Yes. All right. Aragorn swings and misses. The archers advance, which is probably good. All right. 6 points of damage, not enough to kill. That's not good for me. All right. Our elves get their spells off. 1 point of damage kills another archer, apparently. 12 points of damage kills another archer. We still face one archer that did advance. So I can deal with one archer. I thought I wasn't going to be able to deal with two, but the fact that they advanced on their turn made it a lot easier for me. So let's go ahead and fight again. Attack, 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 attack. Defend, defend, defend. Arwen got misgendered and hit for 4 points. 4 more points there, and down goes the archer. Let's see what we get for that. We get 164 experience points and 102 pieces of gold. All right, let me see here. Oh, back into the song. Let me see what the experience chart says that I'm going to need in order to get to the first level. 2,000. I need 2,000. So it's going to take me a while to get that. What I can do, though, is cast a spell. Number 5, you can cast. It was QUFI. And we will do that on Arwen here. All right, back up to full health. And then I think we were kind of south. And then if you ever get kind of lost while you're doing this, this spot here is going to be the guild, where the way out is west. No? All right. Apparently I hit it too fast. Okay, so if I kick this open and then head inside, and exit. I thought that was enough to get me my spell points back. That's how it worked in the previous game. Is that not how it works here? Do I just have to hang out and get my my spell points back? That would be disappointing. That would be very disappointing. But I do want to point out that I believe every single person gets the gold. Okay, I'm turning that off. All right, it's V just like it was in the first game. I can only deal with so much of that one. I mean, it's not bad by any means, but, you know, it's bad if I'm going to have to listen to it for like 10 hours. So I thought that going back to the guild was going to get me my spell points back, but apparently not. Just kind of waiting around will do that. But this is a good time for me to stop, because at this point I do need to level grind. I want to get up to at least level 3. I have to check my notes, because at least at level 3... I do want to, I want to get rid of the warrior and replace him with somebody else. So hopefully Gothmog's not going to be too upset about that. But I will take care of all the level grinding off screen. That is going to do it for this part of The Bard's Tale 2. I've been ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. I hope you laughed. I hope you learned. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.